The story begins by explaining how the French Revolution occurred in 1789, leading to the execution of King Louis XVI and all his supporters. Then, it shifts to the final Queen of France, Marie Antoinette, who was brought to the guillotine amidst public humiliation. After a brief moment, her head is severed, but in the mind of a standing military commander named Napoleon Bonaparte, something entirely different was unfolding. Napoleon, who would later become France's first consul and emperor, was strategizing to assert his dominance and shape the world according to his ambitions. French Army Commissioner Paul Boris reveals that the British Navy has seized control of the port of Talon, trapping more than half of the French soldiers, including votes, there. Napoleon responds, stating that if they lose, France will fall. He plans to regain control of the city by targeting the location from where the British soldiers controlled Talon City. Napoleon's strategy involves using the lack of cannons in the French army and surprising the British soldiers in Talon City during the night when they are intoxicated. His soldiers plant bombs outside the fortress, initiating a surprise attack. Despite losing his horse in the process, Napoleon continues to fight, ultimately capturing the fortress. The English boats are destroyed by cannon fire, securing victory. Following this success, Napoleon is promoted to brigadier general. However, in the midst of French power, there was still a leader utilizing the beheading blade, the guillotine, for his own gain. He executed whoever he pleased, as public executions continued. Paul Boris found this unacceptable, sought Napoleon's advice, and others in the council were also uneasy about using a machine for public execution. One day, during a meeting, they were about to apprehend him, but he took matters into his own hands and shot himself, surviving the attempt. Yet, his head was eventually severed by the guillotine. With this, the Reign of Terror came to an end, lasting from September 5, 1793, to July 27, 1794, releasing 45,100 prisoners who were forcefully detained. A few days later, at a party, Napoleon meets Josephine, and after a brief conversation, love blossoms between them. Meanwhile, there was an attack on the Royalist Council by Paul Boris, stating that they had very few armed soldiers, and a crowd of 200 people. According to Napoleon, if they intervened, 20,000 people would attack them. Following Napoleon's instructions, 40 cannons were brought in on October 5, 1795. As the Royalist crowd advanced, Napoleon ordered the cannons to fire upon them. The entire first line of the crowd was decimated, and the remaining scattered. Napoleon's stature and influence in France had risen significantly. After marrying Josephine and establishing his dominance worldwide, Napoleon, with 40,000 soldiers, arrived in Egypt in July 1798. Having already conquered Italy, he attacked the Egyptian pyramids with artillery, securing victory. Despite his rising status, his wife in France was experiencing a different reality. She ignored Napoleon's affectionate letters, and rumors of her involvement in an affair circulated. Napoleon's confidant informed him about Josephine's alleged affair, and though he found it hard to believe, he decided to confront the situation. Upon returning to France, he received a grand welcome, but at home, he tossed Josephine's belongings outside, reprimanding her for betraying his genuine love. The French council, known as the citizens, questioned Napoleon about leaving the battle in Egypt. However, he skillfully redirected their attention, emphasizing the critical state of the French economy, Austro-Russia's control over Italy, and England's recapture of Holland. He hinted that an invasion of France might be imminent, and while discussing strategy, he acknowledged his wife's affair as a reason for his actions. Despite this personal turmoil, he clarified that it was not the sole motivation. The discussion revealed Napoleon's ability to navigate political complexities and showcased the multifaceted challenges he faced. One citizen, Sieyès, proposes to Napoleon to collaborate in removing the corrupt council and seizing power, suggesting a triumvirate with 3 councils wielding authority. In this setup, Napoleon would be part of one of the councils, and through coercive resignations, all councils are forced to submit to his control. On November 9, 1799, the idea of transferring power to the Royalists is rejected by Napoleon. Facing allegations of misusing military power, an attack is launched against him and his brother, but both manage to escape. Napoleon, standing with an outside army, calls on the French army to support him. The soldiers obey, facing their weapons towards the peaceful assembly. With everyone dispersed, Napoleon becomes the first consul of France. In a subsequent party with his mother, Napoleon is portrayed as a family man, seemingly doing everything for his mother and wife. He attempts peace between England and France through a letter but faces resistance from the Russian king, Alexander, who favors England due to better economic benefits. As England rejects Napoleon's offer, he sends a clear threat to the English ambassador. In response, England sees Napoleon as a mere thug, while European aristocratic families perceive him similarly. Talleyrand suggests a change in title from First Consul to King, leading to Napoleon's coronation on December 2, 1804. Now, he had become the Emperor of France and desired a child to secure the future King of France. However, Josephine struggled to conceive, leading to conflicts between them. Despite the disputes, love prevailed. A year later, Napoleon was in Austerlitz, where the Russian Emperor Alexander, in collaboration with Austria's Emperor Francis, planned an attack on France. Napoleon countered with a strategic plan, trapping 90,000 Austrian and Russian soldiers in the snow with his 68,000 troops. He forced them to retreat, but during their escape, he bombarded them on the icy terrain. In the midst of this, the Austrian king approached Napoleon for peace, while the Russian Emperor Alexander did not. Napoleon accepted the proposal for peace, and upon returning home, his mother wanted to check whether the issue of not having a child was due to Josephine or Napoleon. To resolve this, Joseph arranged for Napoleon to have an affair. Soon after, Napoleon discovered that the girl involved in the affair was pregnant. Reluctantly succumbing to political pressure and France's desire for a new king, Napoleon, despite his unwillingness, divorced Josephine. Yet, the bond of love endured. In 1807, a treaty between Russia and France marked a brief peace. Napoleon, now married to Austrian Emperor Francis's eldest daughter Marie-Louise, hoped for a successor to secure both Austria's alliance and France's future. A year later, their son was born. Napoleon proudly presented the child to Josephine several years later. The peace between France and Russia shattered in 1812 as Napoleon invaded Russia. Despite reaching Moscow, the city was empty, and the retreating Russians set their own castle ablaze. Moscow became a ghost town, refusing to negotiate with Napoleon. His anger flared, and he contemplated burning St. Petersburg but lacked the means. Returning from Moscow proved challenging, with the severe winter claiming the lives of many soldiers. Napoleon's army, once 600,000 strong, dwindled to 40,000 survivors. The disastrous outcome led to his exile to the island of Elba, but he retained a pension, ensuring his family faced no financial difficulties. Napoleon's era of leading France had come to an end. Here, Russia's King Alexander had an affair with Josephine, spreading the news widely. Napoleon disliked this news, and after spending 300 days on Elba, he was ready to return to France. The news of his return spread, causing fear among many. The 18th King Louis tried to stop him by sending an army. However, upon seeing their former emperor, the army was moved, and Napoleon had fully returned. He goes to meet Josephine but discovers that she has passed away due to illness. In her dying moments, she was mentioning Napoleon's name. In 1815, all countries decided to fight against Napoleon. On June 18, 1815, the Battle of Waterloo took place between France and the Duke of Wellington, involving 68,000 soldiers from Dutch, Belgian, and German forces facing 45,000 soldiers of the French. The Prussian army, 12 kilometers away, arrived within 5 hours to join the confrontation. Napoleon decided to advance as soon as the rain stopped, but due to the higher ground, Wellington's army had the advantage. Seeing defeat, Napoleon panicked and, realizing an attack was futile, retreated with his entire army. Despite initial advancements, Napoleon faced defeat as the Prussian and British forces, led by the Duke of Wellington, joined. In the Battle of Waterloo on that day, 47,000 French soldiers were killed. Napoleon was captured, and in October 1815, he was exiled to the island of St. Helena. After spending 6 years there, he died on May 5, 1821, due to stomach cancer. He fought in 61 battles, winning 52, but even in victory, he lost many soldiers. The number of soldiers killed in his wars amounted to 30 lakh in 22 years. His last words, uttered while dying, were, "French Army." If you enjoyed this movie explanation, please like, share, subscribe to the channel, and comment on which movie you'd like to see explained next. Thank you.